Hey y'all, I'm back again with Love After Lockup. So I forgot that there's three parts to this show. There's love during lockup, love after lockup, and life after lockup. Crazy. So much TV, one little show. So life, love after lockup. Child, I don't even know what season. It's season 5, maybe. Episode 3. So you know how we do, we break it down couple by couple. In this episode, we got a new couple on here. We'll get to them later. So we're gonna start with Brittany and Key Rock. So we open up, they're still at his mom's house. Key Rock he excited. They like, taste this. He like, ooh, that's good. And she's like, want me to make your plate, babe? And she's making his plate. And he like, hurry up, babe. You taking forever. You taking forever to make my plate. This is the signs of what's to come here, I suppose. He seemed like he got a sweet side, but he also got a fiery side. And we could tell that from how he was on the phone with her. He'll be yelling at her about this, that, and the third, but then have his family give her some money because, the laundromats or whatever is doing good. So she finally gets the plate made. He's sitting down eating, and he is just... And Mama's like, boy, slow down. Brittany, that's how he eat, Mom. Leave him alone. That's how he eat. And the mama is just like, you are not in jail anymore. You need to slow down. Act like you got some home training. And they bring him out a cigar. He ain't been able to smoke in jail or whatever. So they bring him out a cigar. He's smoking it wrong. He's smoking it like it's, marijuana, it seemed like. And so then they say they finna go to the hotel. All right, they finished eating. All right, we finna go to the hotel. I'll see y'all later. And the mom, she playfully pulls out a belt. And she starts like spanking them, and Brittany's running. Come on! I don't want to get my butt beat. So they run and go get in the car so they can go to the hotel. They ain't been able to, I don't know if they like this or like this. Whatever they do, they ain't been able to be like this. Sounds like I think she had been out for like a year, they said. So they was able to do stuff in jail. But of course, it's like you can't get really into it because the guards coming around. She said when the guards would come around, if they, was medicine with each other, people would yell out 12, 12, 12 to let them know that the guards is coming so they can, clean it up real quick, pull the clothes back on real quick so they don't get in trouble, go sit down to the hole or whatever is the repercussions for doing things in jail. So they get to the hotel and she's got all these gifts for him. She pulls out a nice wallet, a watch. We see she got some shoes, a belt, just all type of stuff. And she says that she spent about $4,000 on him because she's been working at, she's been working at the bar. She lived with his family, so it ain't like she got to pay no rent or whatever. So I guess she just got free money to spend on him on things for his release. So they go to sleep, do the things, they have a good night together. And when they wake up, Brittany is rushing him to get ready for the parole officer appointment. And this is like, I'm doing it couple by couple, but this is how the episode ends. It's just like, oh my gosh, was this last scene where she's rushing him to get ready for the parole office appointment, and he's kind of getting annoyed, and she was like, maybe I packed too much stuff. So they trying to get all the stuff on the cart to check out the hotel so they can go to the appointment. So, it's looking like they're gonna be on time. He's hoping that he gets a lenient parole officer because technically they can't live together. Two felons ain't supposed to be around each other, which I didn't know that she had felony charges. I didn't know both of them had felony charges, but technically they're not supposed to live together. They're not even supposed to associate, really. So if the parole officer, is a nice person and realize like y'all's crimes don't necessarily coincide, so I give you this, freebie to live in the same place, especially knowing the circumstances and everything. So we're gonna see how that shakes out next episode. But they get to the parole office. It looks like they get there with 10-15 minutes to spare, And she's like, all right, call me when you get done. But it don't look like she's going nowhere. So that was like, call me. You're going to be in the same spot, ain't you? And so he goes in there. It's a minute. And then he calls her. And he was like, why you bring me here? Why you bring me here? She's like, what you mean? They said you had to report to Richmond parole office. And he was like, nah, I got to be in Chesterfield. And I'm like, oh, snap. How far is the Richmond PO office from the Chesterfield PO office? Because they are definitely going to be late now. And I'm just hoping that, like, once he gets to Chesterfield, or, you know, if the people over here at Richmond PO can call and let Chesterfield know, hey, he was on time over here. He didn't know he needed to go to Chesterfield, so don't let that be a point against him for being late. Because usually if you late to the PO appointments, they'll lock your butt back up. Like, don't be playing no games. So I'm hoping that the people over there, if it's like a front desk lady or something, she could call over there and be like, hey, whatever, you know, government name is / Key Rock was here on time, but just at the wrong office. So don't ding it against him. So we'll see how that works on the next episode. So next couple, we see Brittany and Andy. The birthday party was a success for Brittany. Andy and his son, his name is Barry. Andy and Barry just been standing outside waiting. They didn't even go get no food, go down to the Walmart, nothing. They just been standing outside waiting. So when Brittany comes out, she's like, oh, you didn't even get to see him, you know, look at the cake. Because Barry and Andy made the cake for the birthday. We made a cake. I'm sure it wasn't the main cake, but made a cake for the birthday. So she kind of act like she feel bad that he didn't even get to see the child with the cake or whatever. Girl, you should have videoed it. But I'm sure she was in the moment. This is her first time really seeing all her kids in the past 2-3 years. So I get it. It is what it is. So Brittany was like, yeah, I know this day was longer than we expected as far as my release and this and that. So I just want to get some rest. I don't want to go home right now. And Andy, you can see that Andy is visibly irritated by this, because it's like, girl, we doing all, like, you got me going through all of this for what? Which my thing is, like, you should have gave her a few days to just be with her family, with her kids, with everybody that's been in her life prior to you, before you run down there trying to take her off to wherever you taking her off to. So it was selfish on Andy's part, so it's hard to feel bad for him anyway, because it's like, you really want to scoop this lady up and take her away from everything she know the first day that she's out of jail. Get over yourself. So she's like, it's only one hotel in town, so I guess we're headed there. So they go to the hotel, and he goes in to get the rooms. And Brittany is talking to Barry, and she's thanking Barry for coming and giving her a chance, because she's like, I know your sisters are a little more hesitant. They're probably, you know, think I'm trying to use your dad and everything. So thank you for being here and for truly giving me a chance. So Barry's just like, okay, cool, you know, whatever. So he comes back out. Andy comes out. He got the keys. Barry is like 2 rooms over from them. And they both, but they, you know, all in the same hall or whatever. So they go to sleep. He hoping to get some. He just really ready to get some. And she's just like, nah. She was annoyed that he was trying to have sex with her. But they still going back to Rome, Georgia with each other. So whatever. So Gracie calls and all of this. And Gracie said, you know, she's dealing with PTSD. She's feeling some post-trauma. Like, even though you're released now, you're still leaving me. You're going somewhere else. And she's very sad that she's leaving her again. And I get Gracie, because she's like, you said this to me before. You said that you're going to be here and I'm going to see you, and then I don't, and you go back to jail. So Gracie is just feeling a whole lot of emotion. She's very much overwhelmed. She does not want her mama to go. But Brittany feels like she needs to go, because being in her old stomping grounds, which a lot of people say is a trigger for them. It's too easy, because you know the drug dealers around and they know you, and they probably be like, oh, I heard you got out. You want some of this? You trying to sell this? You trying to do this? Whatever it was that got you locked up is really accessible because you're still in that same environment. So I understand Brittany wanting to go elsewhere as far as being with Andy, especially since he a cop. He gonna have an eye on her, which I'm sure she's gonna be annoyed by real soon. Real soon. But it's what she feels like she needs regardless. So that's how their story is this episode. Next we see, well, not next we see, but next let's talk about Asante and Renika, because they was funny. So they're sitting there with the PI. I'm not Asante, but Renika, her friend Ray, and the PI's name is KC. They're all sitting there, and the PI is like, do you want to act like? First, he's asking her, do you want me to call the front desk of the hotel to see, to get connected to her? Or do you want to call Auntie directly? Now, let's call Auntie. Let's call Auntie. Like, why does she keep saying it like this? So, KC calls and acts like the front desk. He calls Auntie. He's like, oh, are you checking out today? Or, this, that, and the third. And she's like, no, we're not checking out for such and such date. I think it was like another 2 weeks. We're not checking out until this day. And, he's like, okay, that's cool. Somebody had it written down wrong. My bad. You guys need anything? Do we need to send some towels down or something? And she's like, yeah, we can send the towels down. We'll send whatever else down. Sheets. She asked for sheets. So I was like, ooh, y'all messed up the sheets like that. So they get off the phone and he's like, all right, well, they're definitely there. I can do one or two things. We can go and, wait until they come out, basically do a stakeout, or I can get some people to, call around and revoke his bond. Since you're the one that paid the bond and you want your money back, we can see about revoking his bond and he'll go back to jail. If the bond ain't paid, they gonna come pick him up. She's like, I want to do both. I want to go stake out and see what's going on, and I want to get the bond revoked. And y'all, the first thing that popped in my mind is that what she did? Did she get the bond revoked? So they had been looking for him, and that's why the high-speed chase occurred that ended in his death? I'm not here to speculate. I'm just wondering. Well, I am speculating. I'm not here to say that's what happened. I'm just wondering, because that would make perfect sense. Because I was like, why would he be in a high-speed chase if they just let him go? Like, so that's what my mind is. If that's why the police was after him, because she revoked the bond. Which, that don't make it her fault at all. He shouldn't have been playing like that. Even if so, you having a high-speed chase with the cops, it's just unnecessary, boy. Just go back to jail. You can't run forever, but rest in peace to Asante. I guess we might find out towards the end of this season, because maybe that had already passed by the time, the real life of the high-speed chase happened. That was a whole nother incident, whole nother charge. So maybe we will see, maybe we won't. So next, we see Auntie text the PI, like, I know you playing on my phone. The checkout time for this hotel ain't even right now, so you calling playing on my phone. This ain't even the type of hotel that bring the towels to your door and this, that, and the third. All that. So I'm guessing they sitting there waiting on the towels and the sheets that never came, and they called down to the front desk like, hey, y'all just called us and said y'all was going to bring this up. And they was like, girl, we ain't call you and say nothing. You better come down here and get these towels yourself. And so she was like, okay, so somebody playing on my phone. So Asante calls Renika and is yelling at her, I need to go get my license. I need my social security card, and I got to go get my license and this, that, and the third. And he ends up hanging up on her. She calls him back, and they get to screaming some more, hollering. And her phone is up down, so she don't even get the conversation off. And KC, the PI, has me cracking up. He was like, woo, that was awesome. It reminds me of my bounty hunting days. He is getting a kick out of all this. He ain't been around all this in a while. So he is getting a complete kick out of this. And while they was doing the investigation, I can't remember if it was this episode or the last one, they also found out that Asante ain't even from Atlanta proper. He from like the mountains in Georgia. So she was just like, okay, so this goes further than you just cheating. You telling all out lies about everything. So like Renika is just getting madder and madder. He lied about everything is how she feeling now. So next couple, we don't see Anthony and Sheree this episode. Next I have Chelsea and Mikey. So Chelsea's checking into the hotel. She's nervous. She wants Mikey to be a father to her kids, which I always feel like is a whole lot on people. Like, especially if they didn't have kids when they went in there, and then you got these 3-4 kids that you got that he ain't never met, and you're expecting him to, not expecting, I sound like Tisha, expecting him to just automatically be a father to your children. It's just like, okay, don't get your feelings hurt along with these kids. I think she said 2 of the kids don't live with her, they live with their dad, but she does have custody of at least one child that we saw on the last episode when she took him to wrestling practice. So next she talks about all of her past relationships being abusive, how the man basically took advantage of her because she's deaf, and she, is a little insecure about that. So she doesn't want to jump into having sex and, falling too far for him. But she does love him and she wants them to be together. And he loves her because he says she supported him throughout his strokes, which I forgot all about. I remember her being on a previous season of Love during Lockup, but I didn't remember this storyline. And they flashed back to it. And I remember, I think she had called the prison or something because she hadn't heard from him. And they were like, yeah, he had a stroke. He's in the medical wing or whatever. But when she was calling around, everybody had different stories. So she was like, is he lying to me? Did he never have a stroke? Like, why wouldn't they tell me that? They said the third, but it turns out that he definitely did have a stroke. And they just, safety measures, they didn't want to give all that information out on the phone, not really knowing who he was. So she supported him through that and whatever. He gets out and they're in the car together, and he's like, where's your phone so I can type to you? She's like, nah, baby, we gotta sign. You gotta learn how to sign for real. We gonna be signing all day. You better get used to it. And so he's just kind of like, I had a book to kind of guide me through the sign language, and I would send some videos to her, but it's gonna be a little harder now that I'm out, and this is gonna be our only means of communication is signing. So he has to get used to that. So he has this little band that he shows her, and she's like, oh, okay, that's cool. And she hands it back to him, and he's like, no, I want you to keep it as a promise ring, which was cute. It was cute enough because he's fresh out of jail. He don't need to be proposing to her yet, but he does want to show her that he's serious and he loves her. So he gave her that promise ring. I can appreciate that. So next we have the new couple, y'all. It's Joy Nomi and Red. So Joy Nomi is Native American, but she loves her some black meat, okay? She got a son, and the son be calling him daddy. She's sitting there talking to the son, and she's like, yeah, you ready for daddy to get out? Where's daddy gonna sleep? Oh, you ready for daddy? Da-da-da. So that was weird. And she talks about how she has never had sex with boyfriends, only one night stands. And Joy Nomi is a little on the heavier side. She's a thick girl. She's a big girl. So I'm guessing that really kind of has some insecurities. She has some insecurities about that. Because the fact she said she ain't never had sex with boyfriends, only one night stands, and that her son was the result of her technically cheating on Red. Her and Red been talking for the past 7 years. He's been in prison this whole time. They met while he was in jail. But her son is 4. And she said that Red always gets in trouble. He always gets thrown in the hole. So it's been months at a time sometimes that she is not able to speak to him because he in trouble. So she was just she ended up cheating. And her son's father don't even know that he exists. So it was just literally a one night stand that got her pregnant. And, now Red is his daddy in jail. So she is with her sister, I believe it was. It was her sister or her best friend. And she's going to the pawn shop because she needs some money to drive down to get Red, because they always meet people that's in a whole different state from them, y'all. I'm like, why don't y'all look up the local jails? Like, you can't pinpoint it to a local jail. Why this person got to be way states over? But anyway, she's pawning some stuff. And as she's pulling it out, it's stuff that her grandma gave her. Jewelry that her grandma gave her. Family heirlooms, y'all. Because she need money to go get this man from prison. And her sister is mad as because she like, why would you pawn this stuff? This is family heirlooms. Grandma gave you this stuff. Why would you pawn it? And she talks about how she done spent like $40,000 on him over the past 7 years. Even to her detriment. She would be too busy putting money on his books that she would have to ask to borrow money from people in her life, which is just crazy to me. And it's just like, you in love to a fault at that point, because ain't no way you sending money to somebody in jail who you don't even know in the real world, and you scrounging up money to pay for you and your child. You over here pawning family heirlooms to go get this man. So she's giving her lady all this stuff, a few bracelets, like a blanket, some different things. And she's like, how much you think I'll be able to get for it? And this seemed like a scamming behind pawn shop to me, because the lady turns around and asks her, how much do you want? Now, how much is it worth? Don't ask me how much is want, because the lady went back there. Okay, well, let me go crunch some numbers and see. And comes back to her and was like, yeah, I'll be able to get you to $500. So if you're able to just easily give me this $500, is my stuff worth more than that? Was I supposed to get $700 from it? So that gave me scammer vibes right there. Because if I'm pawning something, don't ask me how much I want for it. Tell me how much I can get for it. If that's less than what I expected, we negotiate. We kind of, do the whole back and forth about it. But her asking her up front, how much do you want for it? And her just telling her a number, it was getting scammer. So next we got the crazy people, y'all. Melissa and Louie, last up. So Louis has got out of prison, and he's like still in awe that he's out. He's saying, it feels like I'm gonna have to go back. Feels like I have to go back to prison and stuff like that. And he's talking about having to go to see his parole officer the next day. And Donna, his mom, is like, I want to go with you to the meeting. And he blows up like, girl, you cannot go with me to my probation meeting. I'm going alone. I'm 41 years old, Mom. I have to do stuff on my own. And Melissa is giving her little 2 cents here and there, and Donna is so annoyed with that. So they get to the house, and the mom is like, okay, not much has changed here. And he's like, yeah, not much at all. He said the house is triggering for him because he used to have his old dealers to come up and serve him at the house. And so they, knowing where he lived, knowing that he out, they might pull up. Like I said with the whole Brittany thing, they might pull up on him and be like, hey, I heard you out. First one's on me, to get him back hooked, to make him back a customer. So that is triggering for him, and he wants to be able to go to Jersey with Melissa anyway. And he talks about how he's stressed about being back out in the real world because he has to find a job. Like, he has bills now. Like, it's going to be an adjustment for him because he's been in prison, I think, 10 years. I think he had been there for 10 years. So they are in his room, and his mom is giving him all the stuff. You got your body wash, you got your shampoo, you got this, you got this. And they're like, girl, relax. He know how to take a shower. Like, and they whispering about they gonna go to a hotel. They not finna stay there, and how they gonna tell her that they going to a hotel. So the three of them sit down to have dinner. And after dinner, like, they have a pleasant enough dinner. Madonna done cooked. He missed his mom's home cooking, like I'm sure he would if he were in jail. And then they talk about, he said, I need a to-go bowl. I need to make a to-go bowl so I can eat it at the hotel. Donna is like, baby, you ain't going to nobody's hotel. You're going to be right here. You need to see what your probation officer say. You don't know if they're going to come in here in the middle of the night, and if you're not here, they take you right back to jail. Like, no. And Melissa is annoyed because she's like, I'm only here for a week, and you ain't giving me no time with him. He gonna have you gonna have him here when I leave, but I'm only here for a week. We don't know when probation officer gonna let him move to Jersey. So like, girl, relax. Let me spend some time with my man. And he's trying to talk to his mom. Like, he's like, I get it. If Melissa wasn't here, then it would be just me and my mom, and she'd be getting all my time. But since I have to split this time with Melissa now, his mom's a bit jealous. So Donna is like, I don't want to hear none of that. You go to your room, Melissa. You sleep on the couch. She give her a pillow and a blanket, and they both get into their respective beds, fully clothed. Melissa still got on this dang blasted cheerleader uniform. They both get into the beds fully dressed. That's how you know they finna sneak out. As soon as Donna go to bed, they sneaking out and they going to this hotel, baby. She was like, I didn't wait all this time to not even sleep with Louis. I want to be next to him. And Louis is like, I've been in jail 10 years with no sex. I'm finna go do grown man things tonight. I'll be back. So I'm sure they're going to sneak out on the next episode. But that's it for this episode. I think they call it 40K felon, because Joy Nomi said she spent $40,000 on this man to her detriment. Just crazy. I can never understand spending money on somebody else, whether they're in jail or not, but especially if they in jail with no bills and no true responsibilities, and then I don't have the money to spend on my own life, especially since you got a child that you need to be taking care of. But we'll get back into that on the next episode this Friday. That was Love After Lockup, episode 3, y'all. I'll see y'all next week. I got these reviews out on a Monday. Claps for me. Hopefully I can keep it up, or Sunday or Monday. So yeah. Bye, y'all.